I was wrong about Warframe, but not in the way you think. You see, I got cooked, grilled, boiled, and you know what? Deep fried by the Warframe community. Here, take a look. Add a bit of seasoning and you can say that this was the best cookout of all time. But what you guys didn't know is I'm Asian. If that wasn't obvious enough, I thrive under tough love. I see it and I gobble it up for breakfast. So playing Warframe for the first time, I thought I finished the tutorial. I thought this was a game that was going to hold my hand, and I thought that this was a sprint to the end game. But I was severely mistaken. And that right there is the problem with Warframe. It's cool space ninjas hacking and slashing on the surface, but bullet jump inside Warframe's expansive forest of content and you reveal confusion, feeling overwhelmed, but most importantly, excitement. And so welcome to a new player's Warframe journey. Now, in my last video, I said I was a man who was different. Someone who strayed off the path of the norm. And so, I ended up picking Vault. Now, of course, my Tenno uncles and aunties made it very clear that I was wrong. And being wrong isn't a problem. After all, I'm still a baby Tenno. So, we restarted the game, made a new account, and picked Mag. We got to learn Mag's moveset and get comfortable with the Warframe. Oh! That's nice. And I did notice that there was another player with me on my journey. Oh, I just realized there's a player with me. Huh? I completely forgot that this is a multiplayer game, so others were going to join the game. I'm pretty sure Sir Adam Death 35 didn't mean no harm, but let's just say he was slowing me down. Adam Death, I swear to God, come on, chop chop. So, after the mission was done, we made sure that this journey would now be solo. You are probably thinking, but why the new account, Raslo? You could have easily got Mag in the game. And to my uncle and auntie Tennos, you are 100% right. But I thought to myself, I hadn't even scratched the surface with this game. And so, I wasn't really losing any progress and it wouldn't hurt to restart anyway. As I was traversing the maps, I knew this journey wasn't going to hold my hand, and so putting on my thinking cap was the name of the game. Confused? I would look online for questions. Confused again? I would look at the codex, which I didn't realize it was there from the beginning. Who can blame me when my eyes was glued to the screen because of how pretty this game looked and how smoothly it ran? But no matter how many times I went to the wiki, a Reddit thread, a YouTube video, I was still overwhelmed. But that is part of the journey. We slashed our way through King Vor and we have finally caught up with where we were at. And I admit to my mistakes that the tutorial finishes here when it never did. This is where I thought the tutorial finished. How foolish of me. How foolish. I was ready to plunge even further into Warframe. However, just before that, I decided to look into the codex, just to scratch the intrigue I had looking at the potential cool weapons I could have access to. Oh, what the fuck is that? I was gushing at what I was seeing. I was still gushing, and I was gushing so much about Warframe that my cat felt like he needed to remind me who deserves all the attention. To be fair, it doesn't matter which ones we... I guess... Brother! What the fuck? Moving on, we go into the Venus Junction. It was my first time knowing, of course, that the game makes you do a Call of Duty 1v1 on Rust type match, just to gain access to the junction. We took care of our previous Warframe Vault with ease, and now we have activated the Venus Junction. My first mission on Venus had me slaying all targets, and I did that with pleasure. Of course, I was still confused with what moves work together with Mag, but this was something I needed to watch a video on. But Knowing that you uncle and auntie Tennos wanted this baby Tenno to not get his hand held, once I had my free ability, I took a minute to try and understand my moveset one more time. Continuing on to slaying my enemies, I was still in utter shock at the stage creation. The amount of space you are given, but also how the game doesn't really limit to where you can go. Sort of. Okay, never mind. Never mind. We completed the mission, extracted, and it was when I was just relaxing on my cozy ship that I saw that I was eligible for a mastery rank up. Now, I didn't know what mastery meant, nor why I was eligible right now. But when it said to test your skills to rank up, I thought, why not? I had to survive 3 waves with my primary only in what looked like a Metal Gear Solid map which I've seen in my childhood. As Space Mum was giving me her tough love and support, we survived the waves and now I was an initiate. Doesn't really sound cool right now, but at least I was able to know what the purpose of the mastery rank was when a viewer told me shortly after. Now, being back on the ship, I wanted to explore the foundry, see what I could possibly craft, but also just get a sense for what I was bound to use a lot more of in the future. Realizing I had enough materials for what was called a taxon, I was intrigued. But a few misclicks later, what's this? Wait, oh, wait, I wasn't meant to build it. A viewer said I needed it regardless, so that wasn't an issue. What was the issue was how long I found out I needed to wait for my taxon. Wait, hold on. No way. 23 hours, 59 minutes and 18 seconds? I have to wait a whole day? A whole day? Gobsmacked at the time I needed to wait, I couldn't even imagine how long it would take to build a Warframe. Regardless, we carried on with our pursuit of happiness within Warframe, and I was introduced to Fortuna. Oh my god. That is so cool. I had fucking goosebumps on my fucking arms. I love that. That had me left in shock and awe. I arrived in Fortuna, a neon-lit city hub that was home to the Solaris, a population of body-augmented depth slaves who their lives were made miserable by this bad guy, Neff. My first steps into Fortuna, I realized that in my previous video, I wasn't really meant to go into Cetus then, and the vibe was completely different between the two. So instead of the village elder Konzu, I was introduced to the badass called Yudiko. Yudiko told me to help joyful and quirky Thursby who had some depth, and we moved without hesitation to help our boy out. We helped him get not 1, not 2, but 3 caches. Unfortunately, Thursby has quite a big mouth, so we were now sent to destroy the spy drone. Finally getting the hang of Mag, I realized her free ability was vital in destroying these mobs where they had massive amounts of shield. After helping out Thursby, we were then introduced to the savant that was called The Business. How cool is that name? We set out into the snowy plains to do a favor for The Business. We soon find out that we need to save his team from getting repoed. I was asked to save his team and go out in full force, or in other words, don't be nice, and I was planning not to whatsoever. We save his team, but realize that Thursby has been taken. We rush back to see Thursby is gone, whilst Yudiko and Biz were arguing as to fight back or surrender and play nice. I was appreciating the scenery that this game had built. However, my time was ended abruptly as Yudiko had decided it was finally time to fight back against the villain Neff. It was up to me, the one-man army himself, to stop Neff from turning Fortuna into oblivion. Dude, am I bugging to say, like, what is... I'm getting fucked. I'm getting fucked. I got no energy as well. Okay. I was doing my best I've never seen my screen so jumbled with information. My brain just went to its instincts, and that meant spamming my sword. Neff decided to bring in his big boy, and so I had to retreat. Once we were brought back in to think of tactics, it was Yuriko who decided to send me out there again. However, I would be going out there in style. I would be going out there in the K-Drive, a hoverboard that allowed me to escape the big boy in style. And by style, I mean jumping right over it. What the hell? I tried to awaken my inner Tony Hawk, but that wasn't happening anytime soon, and we still had a job to carry out. We defended the console with our lives, and it got so hectic that I couldn't even tell you what I was doing. We spammed the sword, hoping for energy orbs to drop, but that just was not happening. I'm always out of energy, brother. In the end, we were finally able to hold them off, and so we got Neff to stand down, and we successfully delivered the Amherst to the cooling tower. Mission accomplished. We returned to Fortuna, and that was the quest completed. I found out that we got the K-Drive launcher as a reward, so I could still work on being the next Tony Hawk on my Warframe journey. We left Fortuna feeling proud. We helped them overcome the evil Neff, but also obtain the great K-Drive. Once we were back in on Razlo Airlines, I couldn't help but be overwhelmed by the sheer amount of planets there were. The fact, oh my god, there's so many planets. There's so many planets. I also had a feeling I was falling deeper into the Warframe trap again. The overwhelming feeling was getting to me. So I did what exactly anyone else would do. I went back home, which was planet Earth. I understood that my Warframe journey is different, but also I can do things how I wanted. So after realizing that I was struggling quite a bit with the mobs at Venus, we did some missions on Earth to get some more experience. It was also on planet Earth that I discovered, and this might be just my opinion, that I detest the defense missions. So even though when it said I could keep going, I made sure to leave as soon as possible. Coming back to Razlo Airlines, we were eligible for Mastery Rank 2, or a Silver Initiate. Yeah, it still doesn't sound cool, does it? We made quick work of the enemy's space mumper against us, and we were comfortably a Silver Initiate. We headed back to the familiar land of Cetus, and not a single bone in my body wanted to skip this cutscene, although already seen it before. The music and the cutscenes are simply unmatched in this game. Oh, I love it, man. Absolutely love the introductions to these cities all the time. The cutscenes are always great, man. After proving ourselves to Konzu once again, it is after where I am introduced to Saya and bungled in to search for her husband Onko, who has disappeared. Saya blames Konzu for Onko's disappearance. Yikes. We obtain a strange coffer where it is revealed by Saya that to open it, we need to gather the Shatterlock pieces to reveal its secrets. But more importantly, we find out that Onko is still alive. At this point, we sort of tell that there is some love story going on between Konzu and Saya, but who knows, I could be wrong. As soon as I had this thought, we are left with both Konzu and Saya arguing again, where we find out that Konzu proposed to Saya with an iron flower? Whoa. Bit more lore. Everything's being unraveled now. I know they say diamonds are a woman's best friend, but I don't think an iron flower is the way to go, buddy. We were able to get 3 glass pieces, but there was still more to obtain. A couple of shards were located on a galleon, and so we made quick work. Got the shards, and then got the hell out of there. And now there was only one more. Just before we go out for the last one, we notice our 2 elders who are arguing have now softened up to each other.
I recall Onko finding a few interesting artifacts in the region of...
That crater lake where we used to fish. That place where Onko's catch got eaten on the line by a...
Oh, that massive hookta. And we had to haul him out.
Get a room, guys. On our way to the cave, we are met with the terrorist, probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen. They trashed the grenade right in front of my eyes, giving me a free path to the last shard. And so we enter the cave. We get the last and final piece of the glass shard, and now it was time to open up the coffer. We open it up and we see the iron rose, which in my opinion has seen better days. It was then Saya who was reminded by Onko to follow her heart, not her head. And so I can only interpret this as Konzu, after years of chasing, marries his true love. See guys, nice guys don't finish last, they just finished 5 years later. With the Cetus mission finally done, we go back to the ship and realize our taxon is finally ready for us to collect. We equip the cute little guy, and after our little trip back home, we adventured right back into Venus. We entered the mission with our typical normal slashing and dashing like any other space ninja would. I was too delirious to know that the mission would actually be my first boss fight.
Watch for an opening and remember your pair is on.
Okay. Wait.
I expected it to be bigger.
Wait, that's the Jackal? God damn. Bro, what the fuck is this? Okay, yep, in a bit. Stunned from his entrance, we were in combat mode from the start. We got through the first stage of the boss and we realized its 360 scan really just obliterates everything in its way. At first, I was just trying to outrun it, which I didn't know if that was the way to do it, but it was working so far. It is now we see the use of our Parazon, which progresses the Jackal into their next phase of the boss fight. Clearly I was wrong about outrunning its grid wall and I paid the price for it. And I paid the price for it again. Now, on the last phase of the Jackal, I had no problems destroying its limbs, dodging its shockwaves, but when it came to its grid wall, it is only through sheer panic and luck that I found out that all I needed to do was latch onto the wall and stay above the grid. We avoided the damage, finally found out how to avoid the grid wall, and finished the Jackal off with the Parazon. And that was my first boss fight done. Going back on the ship, the sense of achievement I had was immense. Yeah, sure, it was only my first ever boss fight, but learning the mechanics, the fighting patterns, and exactly what I need to do was refreshing. This was the gaming experience I needed. The learning curve of the game was just out of my reach, but close enough where it wasn't demoralizing. Learning Mag, a character who at first I didn't think I would like, started to appreciate a lot more. All those feelings had me lost in my own journey of Warframe. So much so, I took a break and enjoyed the wonderful world with a huge sense of achievement. It was just me and my K drive. Something I realized with the other games that I play, I felt like to fully enjoy the game, I needed to lock in for my life. Once it was done, I would be complete mush. But not in Warframe. You ride this wave of excitement where you can jump off the wave just to wind down and relax. And then you can jump back on the wave again. Knowing in the back of my head, I haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. I was taking this journey at my pace. And that is what's important, not sprinting to the end game. As, unlike other games, Warframe is a journey to be enjoyed. Yeah, sure, what I just completed right now is very small and insignificant, but at the very least, I am now a tiny bit less confused and a bit less overwhelmed. And even more excited for what's next in my journey. All of this without having my hand held. We stop here, but this isn't the end at all. I am so glad that I was wrong about Warframe.